When everyone is running in one direction, stop, look around. Ask yourself one question. Do I really want to be part of the crowd, or do I want to stand where no one else dares to stand? The world today celebrates sameness. People dress the same, talk the same, dream the same, and even fail the same way. But true success never comes from being a copy. It comes from being a creation. The world remembers those who think differently, not those who follow the script. In school, we were taught to find the right answers, but life doesn't reward you for memorizing answers, and it rewards you for asking new questions. It rewards those who see what others don't, who believe in what others call impossible, and who dare to act when everyone else hesitates. When you choose to be different, people will laugh at you. They'll say you're crazy, unrealistic, or that your dream is too big, and that's good, because when people laugh, it means they don't understand your vision. And if they don't understand it, that means it's yours alone. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to make everyone understand you. You don't need approval to create impact. You need belief. Every invention, every breakthrough, every change in history began with one person saying, why not? Why not dream bigger? Why not build something new? Why not take a road no one else is walking? The moment you start asking why not, the world starts to change around you. Don't fear being misunderstood. Don't fear standing out. Fear being invisible. Fear being forgotten because you blended in too well. If people can replace you easily, then you never really showed them who you are. The truth is, being different is not a disadvantage. It's your greatest advantage. Because in a world full of copies, authenticity is rare, and rarity is value. Many people chase success by following trends. They think if they copy what successful people do, they'll become successful too. But that's not how it works. You don't become successful by copying a formula. You become successful by creating one. You don't have to do what others are doing. You just have to do what others are not doing, but should. When you start something new, people won't support you. That's okay. Because greatness doesn't need everyone's support at the beginning. It needs your courage. It needs your patience. It needs your refusal to quit when the world says no. Remember this, every no you hear is not rejection, it's redirection. It means you're heading toward a door that others haven't opened yet. Keep knocking, keep believing, keep building what you see in your mind, even when no one else sees it yet. Being different means taking responsibility for your uniqueness. It means trusting your journey even when no one walks beside you. It means failing 10 times and still saying, I'm not done yet. The world will try to make you ordinary. It will pressure you to follow the rules to be safe, to fit in. But safety has never created legends. You have two choices in life. Be like everyone else and disappear in the crowd, or be yourself and let the world adjust to you. The future doesn't belong to the strongest or the smartest. It belongs to those who dare to be different, who use their creativity as power, and who see opportunity where others see nothing. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for someone to tell you that you're good enough. Start now. Be bold, be original, be misunderstood, be different, because the world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs you to stand where no one else dares to stand. This is not just a phrase, it's a mindset that defines the difference between those who follow and those who lead. Most people walk through life on well-trodden paths because it feels safe. It feels predictable. It gives them comfort to know that others have gone before them. But true progress never happens on a crowded road. The greatest opportunities exist in the places no one else is willing to explore, in the ideas that others dismiss, and in the risks that others avoid. To dare to stand where no one else dares to stand means you must learn to be comfortable with discomfort. It means accepting uncertainty as your companion and fear as your teacher. The truth is, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. When you choose to stand alone, you will face doubt, both from others and from within yourself. People will question your choices. They will warn you not to take that risk, not to dream too big, not to go too far. But remember, those warnings come from their limits, not yours. People who cannot see your vision will always try to protect you from it. They'll tell you that it's impossible because they cannot imagine themselves doing it. But history has proven time and again that the ones who dared to stand apart, the ones who refused to follow the crowd, are the ones who created change. They were not special by birth. They were ordinary people with extraordinary courage. To stand where no one else dares means being ready to fail, because failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every new idea, every invention, every movement began as something that others doubted. The first person who tried to fly was called foolish. The first person who dreamed of connecting the world through a screen was called unrealistic. But these people didn't listen to the noise around them, and they listened to the voice within. That voice is what guides you to your purpose. It whispers, try one more time when everything seems lost. It tells you what, keep going when others stop. The only way to hear it clearly is to quiet the noise of the crowd. Standing alone also means taking responsibility for your path. When you walk your own road, there is no one to blame if you fall and no one to rely on if you stumble. But that's what makes it powerful. You learn to trust your instincts, to believe in your choices, and to depend on your effort. You grow stronger because you have to. You learn resilience not from comfort, but from challenge. You learn confidence not from praise, but from persistence. This independence is what separates dreamers from doers. People will often misunderstand your journey. They'll see your struggle and call it failure. They'll see your isolation and call it foolishness. But they won't see the vision burning inside you. They won't understand that solitude is sometimes necessary for creation. Great ideas are not born in noise. They're born in silence. When you're alone with your thoughts, shaping something new out of nothing, that's where creativity lives, in the space between doubt and determination. When you dare to stand where no one else dares, you also give others permission to do the same. Courage is contagious. When someone sees you taking a risk, they start to believe that they can too. When they see you breaking limits, they begin to question their own. Your courage doesn't just change your life, it inspires others to find their own strength. That's how movements begin, not with a crowd, but with one person who dares to be different. But daring doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean jumping blindly into the unknown. It means thinking deeply, planning wisely, and then taking bold action. It means being aware of the risks, but choosing to face them anyway, because your dream is worth more than your fear. It means knowing that growth only happens when you step outside of what is easy. If you only do what everyone else does, you'll only get what everyone else gets. So many people waste their lives waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect support. But perfection never comes. The people who change the world are the ones who act when conditions aren't perfect, when the world says they shouldn't, and when logic says they can't. They move anyway. They build anyway. They believe anyway. That's what it means to dare, to take one more step even when the path ahead is unclear. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when you question if standing alone was the right choice. In those moments, remember that every great story began with a single brave decision. No one remembers the crowd that said no. They remember the one person who said yes to a dream that seemed impossible. When you dare to stand where no one else dares, you plant a seed of possibility. You prove that courage is stronger than fear, that vision is louder than doubt, and that one person's belief can start a ripple that changes everything. The world rewards originality, not imitation. It's easy to copy what works for someone else, to follow the same steps and to expect the same results. But the truth is, no one in history has ever achieved greatness by being a copy. Success doesn't come from repeating what others have already done. It comes from creating something new, something that carries your fingerprint. When you imitate, you limit yourself to someone else's boundaries. When you create, you expand and your own. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary lies in the courage to be original, to think differently, and to act according to your own vision, even when it doesn't fit the expectations of others. Originality begins in the mind. It starts with the decision to trust your ideas, even when they seem small, strange, or uncertain. Every original thought once looked impossible. People who changed the world didn't begin with perfect plans. They began with imperfect ideas and a burning desire to improve them. The secret is not to find the best idea. It's to find an idea that truly belongs to you. When you believe in your idea deeply enough to protect it, nurture it, and fight for it, it grows into something valuable. The world doesn't need more copies of what already exists. It needs people brave enough to bring something new to life. When you imitate, you might gain temporary success, but it never lasts, because imitation doesn't build identity. You might copy someone's methods, their style, or their story, but you can't copy their spirit. That spirit, their unique combination of experience, belief, and purpose, is what makes their success real. Trying to live through someone else's pattern will always leave you empty because it doesn't come from who you are. Originality is not about being different just for the sake of difference. It's about expressing your truth in a way only you can. It's about seeing the world through your eyes, not through the eyes of others. The challenge of being original is that it often feels lonely. People don't easily accept new ideas because they challenge what's familiar. When you present something new, people might reject it, laugh at it, or call it unrealistic. But that's part of the process. Every original idea is first ignored, then criticized, and finally admired. You must be patient enough to go through the first two stages before you reach the third. If you stop when people doubt you, you'll never see what your originality could become. The courage to keep going when no one else believes in you is what separates. You must be patient enough to go through the first two stages before you reach the third. If you stop when people doubt you, you'll never see what your originality could become. The courage to keep going when no one else believes in you is what separates creators from imitators. Originality also means taking risks. When you choose to walk your own path, there's no map, no guarantee, no example to follow. You have to rely on your intuition, your creativity, and your persistence. And yes, you will make mistakes, but every mistake will teach you something that no success ever could. Mistakes made on your own path are lessons that make you stronger. Mistakes made while copying others are dead ends because they teach you nothing about yourself. The beauty of originality is that even failure becomes valuable. It shapes your understanding, your resilience, and your identity. In a world where trends change every day, originality is what makes you timeless. People forget those who follow, but they remember those who innovate. Every breakthrough in business, in art, in science, came from someone who refused to do what everyone else was doing. They saw what others ignored, they questioned what others accepted, and they created what others couldn't imagine. You don't need to be a genius to be original. You just need to observe, to think, and to act differently. The smallest new idea can grow into something that changes lives if you are brave enough to believe in it. To stay original, you must also protect your mind. Don't fill it only with what others think, what others create, or what others expect. Spend time with your thoughts, your values, your curiosity. Read widely, learn constantly, but don't lose yourself in the noise of comparison. Comparison kills creativity. When you compare yourself to others, you start to imitate them unconsciously. You stop listening to your inner voice. But your originality lives in that voice, the one that whispers ideas that no one else hears. If you silence it, you silence your potential. Being original is not about being perfect. It's about being real. People connect more with authenticity than with perfection. When you speak, act, and create from a place of honesty, your work gains power. It resonates because it's true. You don't have to pretend to be someone else to impress the world. The world is already full of people trying to impress each other. What it needs is people who express what's real, even if it's raw, even if it's imperfect. Originality requires patience. Great ideas take time to grow. You might not see results immediately, and that's okay. Keep refining, keep improving, keep creating. The value of originality increases with time. What's ignored today might be admired tomorrow. What's misunderstood now might become a model for others in the future. Every time you choose to be original, you're not just building success, you're building legacy. In the end, the people who rise above the noise are not those who followed the crowd, but those who trusted themselves enough to lead it. The world rewards originality because originality builds the future. Every invention, every movement, every transformation begins with someone who dared to think for themselves, who refused to imitate, and who believed that their unique vision mattered. Don't seek approval. Believe in your vision. One of the greatest traps in life is the desire to be liked by everyone. From childhood, we are taught to look for validation from teachers, parents, friends, and later society. We learn to measure our worth by how others react to us, how many people agree with us, and how much praise we receive. But the more you depend on approval, the more you lose connection with your own voice. When you let others decide that's right for you. You hand them the power to shape your future. Believing in your vision means learning to stand firm even when no one else understands you. It means trusting that what you see in your mind is real, even if the world doesn't see it yet. When you start something new, people will question you. They'll ask why you're doing it. They'll tell you it won't work, and they'll remind you of all the reasons you should give up before even trying. Not because they want you to fail, but because they can't see what you see. They live within their limits. You live within your vision. That difference often creates misunderstanding. People are more comfortable with what they know than with what's possible. But vision is not meant to make people comfortable. It's meant to make them think. If your vision doesn't challenge others, it's probably not big enough. The most powerful visions are often lonely in the beginning. You might find yourself walking a path with no one beside you. You might face silence, doubt, and even ridicule. But that's part of the journey. Every creator, every innovator, every leader went through that phase where no one believed in them. What kept them going wasn't approval, it was belief. Belief in what they were building, belief in the difference it could make, belief in their ability to turn imagination into reality. Approval fades when opinions change, but belief stays strong because it comes from within. If you live for approval, your dreams will shrink to fit the expectations of others. You'll begin to adjust your ideas, your words, and your actions to please people who may not even understand your purpose. That's how many great ideas die. Not because they weren't possible, but because they weren't protected. Protecting your vision doesn't mean ignoring advice. It means filtering it. Listen to feedback, but don't let it rewrite your story. Not everyone is meant to see what you see. Some people will only understand after you've succeeded, and that's okay. You're not here to convince everyone. You're here to create something real. Believing in your vision requires courage because it's easier to doubt than to believe. It's easier to follow the crowd than to walk alone. But courage is the bridge between dreams and reality. When you take the first step toward your vision, you might not know the entire path, and that's fine. You don't need to see the whole road, you just need to see the next step. Vision is like light in the darkness. It doesn't reveal everything at once, but it shows you enough to keep moving. The mistake most people make is waiting for clarity before taking action, but clarity comes from doing, not waiting. There will be moments when nothing seems to work, when your belief is tested, and when doubt feels stronger than faith. Those are the moments that shape your strength. The world might not believe in you yet, but your belief must be unshakable. Because vision without belief is only a dream, but vision with belief becomes a mission. When you hold on to that mission with consistency and patience, even the people who once doubted you begin to see what you saw from the start. That's the power of staying true to your vision. It turns disbelief into inspiration. The desire for approval can quietly destroy creativity. When you focus too much on being liked, you start to play safe. You stop experimenting. You stop taking risks. You stop expressing your full potential because you fear rejection. But growth comes from boldness, not from fear. Some of the greatest achievements in history came from people who were criticized, doubted, and rejected countless times. What they all had in common was not external approval, but internal conviction. They didn't wait for the world to say yes. They said yes to themselves and proved it through their actions. You have to understand that belief is a discipline. It's not something you feel once and keep forever. You have to feed it daily. The work, persistence, and patience. Every small step toward your vision strengthens that belief. Every failure you overcome adds another layer of confidence. Over time, your belief becomes unbreakable. And that's when transformation begins. You no longer need anyone to tell you that you're on the right track because your results start to speak for you. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting respect. People may not agree with you, but they will admire your determination. They will see in you something rare, someone who doesn't bend under pressure, someone who believes in something bigger than opinions. The truth is, approval is temporary, but belief builds legacy. What people think about you today may change tomorrow, but what you build from belief will outlast every opinion. Believing in your vision is not arrogance, it's faith in your purpose. It's the silent power that keeps you moving forward when the world stands still. Every no is redirection, not rejection. When someone says no to you, it's easy to feel discouraged, to feel like your effort was wasted, and to believe that maybe you're not good enough. But the truth is, every no you hear in life is guiding you toward a better direction. It's not a closed door. It's a sign that the door you were knocking on wasn't meant for you. The world doesn't reject you to stop you. It redirects you to strengthen you. Those who understand this truth never let rejection define them. Instead, they use it as a compass, learning to see failure as feedback and every setback as preparation for something greater. When people hear no, most stop trying. They take it personally, as if that single word decides their worth or determines their potential. But success doesn't belong to those who never hear no. It belongs to those who hear it and keep going anyway. Every successful person you've ever admired has been told no many times, by teachers, by investors, by friends, by life itself. What made them different wasn't luck or talent. It was the ability to keep moving forward despite rejection. Because behind very no hides a hidden yes waiting to be found. Rejection often feels painful because it challenges your belief in yourself. It makes you question your path, your dream, and even your identity. But in reality, rejection reveals more about timing than about your worth. Sometimes the opportunity you want isn't right for you yet. Sometimes the world says no because you're meant to grow a little more before you're ready for that yes. And sometimes it says no because there's a bigger opportunity waiting in another direction. Life has a strange way of teaching through detours. What looks like a dead end is often the beginning of a better road. When you face rejection, it's important to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what can I learn from this? Each no carries a lesson. So maybe you need to improve your skills, refine your strategy, or strengthen your patience. Maybe it's testing your commitment to see if you truly want what you say you want. Because the truth is, only those who persist through rejection deserve success. If you quit after hearing no, then your dream was conditional. But if you keep going, you prove that your dream is unconditional. Rejection builds resilience. Every time someone tells you no and you stand up again, you become stronger. You start to realize that rejection can't destroy you unless you allow it to. Over time, you develop the ability to face it without fear. You stop seeing no as a wall and start seeing it as a stepping stone. That's when the real transformation begins. When rejection stops being an enemy and becomes a teacher, the lessons you learn from rejection shape your character more than any success ever could. Many people think success is about getting everything they want, but real success comes from surviving the things you didn't get. It comes from learning to adapt, to find new ways, to keep faith when nothing seems to work. Rejection forces creativity. It pushes you to think differently, to explore possibilities you wouldn't have seen if the first door had opened easily. Some of the best outcomes in life are born from moments of rejection. The job you didn't get might lead you to start something on your own. The person who doubted you might inspire you to prove them wrong. The plan that failed might push you toward the idea that finally succeeds. Every no you face tests your emotional strength. It asks you whether you believe in your goal enough to try again. Most people give up because they see rejection as a stop sign, but those who rise above it see it as a detour sign. They understand that life doesn't block paths without reason. Sometimes you're denied what you want because you're meant to find something better. Sometimes rejection protects you from something you can't yet see. The power of perspective is everything. When you learn to view no as redirection, you no longer fear it. You must also learn to separate your self-worth from external opinions. When someone rejects your idea or your effort, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It simply means they couldn't see what you see. Rejection doesn't define your value. It defines their perspective. Never let one person's judgment decide your future. Keep improving, keep believing, and keep moving forward. The people who said no today may one day come back and say yes. Not because you changed who you are, but because you became who you were meant to be. Life is a constant dialogue between rejection and redirection. Every time you're told no, the universe is whispering, not here, not now, but keep going. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is how they respond to that whisper. If you treat rejection as the end, it becomes the end. But if you treat it as guidance, it becomes the beginning of something far more meaningful. Every great story has moments of rejection that later make the victory even more powerful. Those no's become part of your foundation. Reminders of how far you've come and how strong you've become because you refuse to stop. Authenticity is your greatest advantage. In a world where everyone is trying to impress, where people are constantly pretending to be someone else just to fit in, being real becomes rare. Yet authenticity is what makes you unforgettable. It's not about perfection, it's about honesty, about showing the world who you truly are, not who you think you should be. When you live authentically, you attract opportunities that match your values, people who respect your truth, and a sense of peace that no amount of pretending can ever give. You don't have to wear a mask to be successful. The most powerful people are not those who are liked by everyone, but those who are respected for their truth. Being authentic takes courage because it's easier to follow the crowd than to stand alone. Society constantly tries to mold you into something else. It tells you what success should look like, how happiness should feel, and what kind of person you should become. But if you spend your life chasing what others want for you, you'll forget who you are. Authenticity begins when you stop chasing approval and start honoring your own voice. It's about saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. It's about being proud of your values even when others don't agree. People are drawn to authenticity because it's rare. In business, in friendships, in leadership, those who are genuine stand out naturally. They don't need to shout to be noticed because truth has its own quiet power. You can't fake it for long. Sooner or later, masks fall and the truth always shows. The moment you decide to live without a mask, you stop competing with others. You stop comparing your journey to theirs. You start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself instead of the version that looks best to others. That's when confidence begins to grow from within. Authenticity also means accepting your imperfections. You don't need to be flawless to be valuable. People relate to those who are real, not to those. Not to those who pretend to be perfect. The cracks in your story make you human, and that's where connection happens. Every struggle, every mistake, every failure adds depth to your character. When you own your story instead of hiding it, you inspire others to embrace theirs. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's strength in its purest form because it shows you have nothing to hide. Being authentic doesn't mean being rigid or refusing to grow. It means staying true to your principles while evolving as a person. You can learn from others, change your mind, and adapt to new situations without losing your essence. Authentic people are open-minded yet grounded. They're flexible but firm in their beliefs. They know who they are, so they don't fear change. Growth becomes easier when it's guided by self-awareness rather than social pressure. Authenticity also protects your energy. Pretending to be someone else is exhausting. It drains your creativity, your confidence, and your peace. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, not even yourself. Living authentically means freeing yourself from that weight. You no longer worry about how others perceive you because your actions come from integrity, not insecurity. That freedom gives you clarity. It allows you to focus on what truly matters instead of wasting energy on maintaining an image. The biggest advantage of authenticity is trust. Whether in relationships, careers, or leadership, people trust those who are consistent and real. Trust can't be built on perfection. It's built on truth. When people know that what you say and what you do align, they begin to believe in you. And when they believe in you, they follow you, support you, and stand with you. Authenticity turns influence into impact because people can sense when something is genuine. Sometimes being authentic will cost you things, friendships, opportunities, approval, but it will never cost you your peace. Losing people or situations that don't align with your truth is not loss, it's clearing space for what's meant for you. When you choose authenticity over acceptance, you stop settling for half-hearted connections. You start surrounding yourself with people who value the real you, not the version you perform for them. That's when relationships deepen and purpose becomes clearer. The truth is, authenticity attracts abundance. When you are true to yourself, you align with what's meant for you. You stop forcing things and start allowing them. Life begins to flow because you're no longer in conflict with your own identity. Success that comes from authenticity feels fulfilling because it's built on integrity. It doesn't require constant effort to maintain because it's real. You no longer fear being exposed because there's nothing to hide. Authenticity is not about being loud or rebellious. It's about being honest enough to say, this is who I am. It's about walking your path, even if it's different from others. It's about trusting that being yourself is enough. When you live that way, you become magnetic because confidence rooted in truth shines brighter than any illusion. The world may try to copy your results, but it can never copy your essence. What makes you different is not your talent or your background, but your authenticity, the courage to show up as yourself in every room, every challenge, and every dream. The future belongs to those who dare to be different. Every generation has two kinds of people: those who follow what already exists and those who create what doesn't. The ones who create are the ones who shape the future. They see possibilities where others see problems. They don't wait for permission to act. They move when their vision calls them. Daring to be different doesn't mean rejecting Eve. Writhing around you. It means refusing to let fear dictate your path. It means thinking independently, believing deeply, and acting boldly even when others don't understand your choices. The people who change the world are never the ones who fit in perfectly. They are the ones who stand out courageously. Most people choose comfort over courage. They prefer to stay in familiar spaces because they fear judgment, failure, or rejection. But comfort zones don't create growth. They create stagnation. The world moves forward only because someone dares to step out of what's known. Every invention, every movement, every success story was born from someone who looked at the ordinary and said, there's a better way. The future rewards that kind of thinking, the kind that doesn't just accept what is, but imagines what could be. Being different requires vision. You must be able to see beyond what others see and believe in that vision long before it becomes visible to anyone else. The beginning of every great idea is usually met with disbelief. People will question you. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll tell you to take the safe route. But the safe route never leads to extraordinary destinations. When you dare to be different, you're not rebelling for attention. You're leading through imagination. You're proving that progress comes from curiosity and courage, not from imitation. The path of those who dare to be different is never easy. It comes with failures, with misunderstanding, and with moments of deep doubt. But those moments build strength. They test how much you truly believe in your dream. Every time you fall and rise again, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more. The pain of trying and failing is temporary, but the regret of never trying stays forever. Those who create the future understand that discomfort is the price of discovery. They embrace struggle not as punishment, but as preparation. When you dare to be different, you also attract criticism. People fear what they don't understand, and they often attack what challenges their comfort. But see, criticism is a sign that you're doing something worth noticing. It means your actions are loud enough to make people think. Instead of running from it, learn from it. Filter what's useful, ignore what's not, and keep moving forward. The noise of doubt fades when the results begin to speak. The future doesn't belong to the most intelligent or the most talented. It belongs to the most courageous. Talent can open doors, but courage keeps them open. Intelligence helps you plan, but courage helps you act. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to take the first step, even when the path isn't clear. Those who dare to be different understand that waiting for certainty is another form of fear. They take risks, they experiment, and they learn through action. Every mistake becomes data. Every setback becomes direction. The world needs different thinkers more than ever. It needs people who question outdated systems, who dream of better solutions, who believe that change is possible. The future will not be built by those who copy what already exists, but by those who imagine what's next. That's why daring to be different is not just a choice. It's a responsibility. Each person who chooses to think creatively adds something new to humanity's story. Each person who follows their passion instead of pressure creates a ripple that inspires others to do the same. Daring to be different also means daring to be authentic. It means not compromising your values to fit into systems that don't reflect who you are. It means holding on to your individuality even when it's inconvenient. The world may try to shape you, to tell you how to act, how to think, and what to want, but you must remember that progress depends on those who resist conformity. The ones who create lasting impact are those who have the strength to remain themselves in a world that constantly demands imitation. The future belongs to those who take risks when others hesitate, who create opportunities when others wait for them, who turn obstacles into possibilities. It doesn't belong to those who leave a mark on the world, are not the ones who played it safe, but the ones who followed a vision no one else believed in until it became undeniable. Every great achievement begins with one person daring to be different enough to start. So dare to think your own thoughts, dream your own dreams, and walk your own path, even if it's unfamiliar. The world doesn't move forward because of followers. It moves forward because of thinkers, builders, and believers who act differently. When you dare to be different, you become a spark for the future, lighting the way for others who have forgotten that change begins with courage. The future belongs to those who refuse to blend in, who use their uniqueness as power, and who have the boldness to imagine a world that doesn't yet exist,